Yo, what is happening, guys, and welcome back to the Let's Talk Finance channel. You can tell by the title and the thumbnail. Today, we will be talking about KSI's last offer to Jake Paul. And the reason I say last offer is because they've said last offer about 10 times. But we're gonna go with the flow. We're gonna just go with it being the last offer. KSI uploaded a video about his next fight coming up, and in that video, he also talked about Jake Paul and said to get the fight done. He made out his last claim, his last offering towards Jake Paul, whether he wants it accepted or not. And KSI said to Jake Paul, okay, May 2025, £180 in America to keep Jake happy. That was KSI's last offer. Jake said May doesn't work, but February does. Moms Taylor, I believe, then responded to Jake and saying February works, but they can't agree on the weight. Jake Paul's team wants £200 because obviously Jake Paul went up, I think it was to 210, £220 to fight Mike Tyson. He probably wants to stay that high. We know that Jake is way naturally heavier than KSI to begin with. KSI is way naturally lighter to begin with. So 185 is kind of heavy for KSI. I think that might be what him and Tommy Fury fought at. Jake, that's very light compared to Jake. You know, Jake's probably going to want to stay at like between that 195, £200 minimum. So I just don't think it's going to happen. You know, this was KSI's last offer. Like I said, he said May 2025. That's literally next year. That doesn't work, but they agreed to February, I guess. And then they're saying about the weight, but the weight will never be agreed upon. Whether it's in America or the UK, it doesn't matter. Whether it's a month, it doesn't matter. It will always come down to the weight and being the A side. KSI wants to be the A side. Jake Paul wants to be the A side. The weight is not the fucking same thing because Jake is way heavier and KSI is way lighter, and they both want it to be on their own terms and meet in the middle. And I just can't see it happening. Like I said, this is one of those fights. The longer and the more offers that are made, the more it seems impossible to make. I genuinely believe when I say this, and a lot of people agree with me, that we are probably never, ever, ever in this fucking lifetime going to see KSI versus Jake Paul. The closest we're going to get to that is if you buy WWE 2K24 and fucking go into my characters and fucking create Jake Paul and KSI and get them to fight that way. That is probably the closest we're going to get to ever having this fight, because I just can't see it happening. They've made so many offers to each other. They've denied so many offers to each other. KSI said he's fighting in August again. I'll talk about that in a separate video about his offer. Jake is supposed to be fighting, I think it's October, November time against Mike Tyson because the fight got delayed. And then to fight in February, just a couple months after, I don't think it's going to work. They'll probably push it back to later 2025 and then push it to 2026 and then later 2026. And I think it's just going to be the consistent case of they can't agree on a weight. They can't agree where it's going to be. I just don't think we're going to get this fight, unfortunately. Like I said, KSI's last offer, the main point was 185, and Jake's not going to want to do 185. Jake's wanting 200. KSI, I don't even think could make 200. I just don't. I don't think this fight's going to fucking happen. And it is frustrating, but we've kind of accepted it now. Like I said, KSI made, an announcement about his next fight, August 31st in Dublin. And I'll do a separate video on that. Jake Paul will be fighting Mike Tyson October, November time. I believe we leave it a little bit. We'll see what happens. We'll see what weight Jake wants to guarantee, what weight KSI wants to guarantee. They're both going to have to move a little bit. KSI is either going to have to go up to 190 and Jake's going to have to come down to 190, or it ain't going to fucking happen. That's probably the closest you're going to get. Yeah, man. Let me know in the comments down below of what do y'all think? Do you think this fight's ever going to happen? We've kind of made a couple videos on this already. Do you think KSI versus Jake Paul is ever going to happen? Do you think it's actually going to happen, or do you think it's just a fucking dream that's been fucking lost? Like, it is far, far gone. Let me know. I genuinely think we have more of a chance of getting a Gib versus Jake Paul or a Deji versus Jake Paul rematch at this point than getting Jake Paul versus KSI. I think we have more of a fucking chance to get KSI versus Logan Paul free before we get KSI and Jake Paul at this point. I genuinely fucking do. I think we have more of a chance of getting Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor at this point. It genuinely just seems so far out of reach. I don't know, man. Well, that's KSI's last offer. We'll see in a couple months. Jake will probably make him another offer, and then KSI will make him another offer, and it seems to be this will constantly go on until they're in a retirement home, and then who knows, maybe when they're both old, maybe then they'll fight. I don't fucking know at this point, but let me know in the comments down below, man. What do you think would be the fair weight? What do you think would be the fair weight? Jake being about £200, KSI being in shape about 180, I think 185. What do you think would be the fair weight? I don't think they care about location at this point. Fuck who's getting paid more, pay them the same. It's a mega fight, winner takes all or whatever the hell like that. But what do you think would be the fair weight for them? Do you think this fight's ever actually going to happen? Who do you think, if you think one of them is more at fault, who do you think is more at fault of not making this fight happen? That's what I want to know. Because a lot of people think it's Jake, a lot of people think it's KSI, a lot of people think it's both of them. I don't know. Let me know your opinions down below, but hopefully it happens at some point. We're just going to have to see after KSI has his next fight and Jake has his fight against Mike Tyson. We're going to have to see where they both stand, what weight that they both want to stay at, whether Jake wants to stay up at about 220 or he wants to come down again to be more comfortable, whether KSI wants to go up a little bit in bulk or whether he wants to stay at around 180, 185 pounds. We're just going to have to see what happens. But for now, that's the last offer. We're going to see what happens in the coming weeks. Hopefully they can get a little bit closer, a little step closer to making this deal, making it a done deal, making it actually fucking happen like we've been waiting for since like 2018. Hopefully, hopefully we just get that little step closer. But for now, we don't know. We're lost in the dark like we have been for the past 6 years. But one day, will we get KSI versus Jake Paul? That is the question. I don't even think God has the answer at this point. But for now, we're just going to have to wait. Let me know your opinions down below. As I said, KSI versus Jake Paul 2025? Possibly. Possibly not. We will have to see. But probably not. Yeah. Just going to end on a depressing note. We're not getting KSI versus Jake Paul.